and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is OPAL Singleton, and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. Well, we have something very, very important to share with you this weekend. And I'm very, very grateful for all of you that follow us, that get involved, that listen. And so many of you come to me and you say, what can I do? Well, I've got something you can do, and we really need you to do that today. So to get started with this, I want to share with you that we have a very special guest with us today, and that is Chief Billy Green. He is the Chief of Police at the Fontana Police Department. I'm sure that most of you that follow us know that he is one of my heroes. I talk about him regularly on the radio. I bet he doesn't even hear it or know. A lot of people don't realize what I'm saying on here, but I work in child sex crimes and combating human trafficking and sextortion and social media exploitation. This show is brought to you by millionkids.org, and we are the training and outreach coordinator for the Riverside County Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force that's reporting to the Riverside County Sheriff. However, we've been doing this almost 15 years now, and we cover a broad swath of California. And in that work, I have followed the work of Chief Green out of the Fontana PD, the police department there. And in the past, we've had Corporal Guth on with their ICAC unit, that is Internet Crimes Against Children. And they just do a fabulous job of investigating child sex crimes. And the reason I wanted to have Chief Green on today is that something has come up here that has got my attention that it just simply cannot be possible. And that is, when I got back from vacation, I saw these articles that are saying that the ICAC units, the Internet Crimes Against Children units for the state of California, are not included in next year's budget for our governor on Capitol Hill. And that just can't possibly be true. So with that, welcome, Chief Green. I'd like you to tell the audience here a little bit about yourself and the ICAC unit over in Fontana and what you do.
Thank you for the welcome, Opal. As you said, I am Billy Green, the very proud chief of the Fontana Police Department. Here in Fontana, we dove into investigating internet crimes and sexual exploitation of children really on a full-time basis in 2015. Right. Our unit has grown from what was initially one detective assigned to the unit to now we have 5 full-time detectives assigned to the unit, as well as a service dog that is specially trained to sniff out electronic storage devices. So we are very, very aggressive with investigating and tenaciously pursuing those predators that are looking to victimize children. So we're very proud of the work that we've been able to do here at the Fontana Police Department.
As you should be. You're very successful. Because I look at all the cases across America each day, I know which chiefs of police are really hitting it and are really successful. And you're right there in the very top of the category across the nation, not just here in California. And by the way, I did an insider alert for those that follow Million Kids. We do insider alerts, and I did one on a dog named Goose because your dog is phenomenal. So I'm very, very proud of what you do. Would you kind of get a little more specific for our audience, the kinds of cases that you investigate and what it takes to investigate those cases?
I'd be happy to. Our unit specializes, as I said, in those predators that are targeting children. And the way that we initiate our investigations come from a few different ways. Very common, we will receive notifications from NCMEC, or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, where we're alerted that someone in our geographical area is trading in images and videos which have been identified to contain child pornographic images. Right. Once we are made aware that someone in our geographical region is trading these types of photos and videos with other individuals, that is what kicks off our investigation. And it wouldn't do justice to the hard work of the men and women without mentioning how intensive and how labor-driven these investigations are. The initial search warrant that we write usually results in us learning who the internet provider is for the person trading in this type of pornography. That is the tip of the iceberg, and that launches into the next step of the investigation, where we write for actual IP addresses and try to determine where the person actually lives, or where the location of the server or internet provider that they're doing these devious acts on. Once that is completed, our officers and our detectives will complete in-depth surveillance of the location. They kick off extensive amount of intelligence workup of trying to determine who works there or who lives there, previous times that we've been out to that location. And many times, because of the way that the internet works, it's not here in Fontana, it's in our surrounding areas. Just this morning, our ICAC unit went up into the high desert and effected a significant arrest of a child predator. Wow. So that from those images, as well as we get alerts from internet providers when they become aware that someone on their system is providing and sharing these pornographic images, which have been identified as being of children. We also have engaged in some proactive stuff where we will pose as an underage child on the internet and to solicit criminal type of proposals from those that are sick individuals, frankly, right, that are looking to exploit children. So they go about it many different ways. We're not singular in the way that we approach. It's in a holistic approach. And rest assured that if someone is engaging in child pornography in the Inland Empire, the Fontana Police Department Internet Crimes Against Children will target them and take them, ensure that they're held accountable for their actions.
Yeah, the work that you do, I've been doing this work for a very long time, and few people realize what it takes to investigate a child sex crime. You see things you really hope you never ever see again in your life, but more important from what I want our public to really understand is, let's say that your 14-year-old kid falls in love on the internet and they send a naked photo. And the next thing you know, they're getting blackmailed and the kid panics. They start to think about running away. They start to think about suicide. And, they once they report that, that's when a group like you gets involved and starts to pretend to be them and find out who they are. It changes a child's life forever and their family. And I'm so grateful that your people are willing to do this. It takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of technology, and it takes tremendously dedicated people. And you have put that together in a way that is just getting enormous results. So in a couple of minutes, we're going to come up against a hard break here. And I'm going to ask the people to stay with us, because what we're dealing with here, as I understand it, is that you're not included in this next year's budget for the state of California, which means all that expertise, all that commitment, all those hours of investigation going forward is going to go away and it won't be funded. And I'm going to ask our audience to get involved with us. And I'll give you specifics before this is over on what you can do. But that's why this is so critical. We cannot afford to lose your department and what they're committed to.
Absolutely. And it's extremely concerning that the governor has not funded the continued resources to the regional ICAC centers throughout the state. It's going to definitely have an impact on our ability to continue to identify and apprehend and keep kids safe from these predators.
Yeah. It's a situation where you'll get a case and the child's being violated. And what they don't realize is they're one of thousands that this guy is violating, or hundreds. And we have to have people like you to identify them and get them off the street. They never seem to have just one victim. So I'm going to ask our audience here. We're going to take a break here in a minute, and I'm going to ask Chief Green if he can stay on one more segment, and then we'll let him go because I know he's very busy, and I'll define the depth of the problem after he leaves the interview. But I'm going to ask you to stay on because we need you, the audience, to get involved with us. You can make a difference. You don't have to donate. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking for your time and commitment to contact the people that can make the difference to make sure that we continue this kind of investigative unit. My name is Opal Singleton. We're up against that break, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Listen up, folks. You no longer have to drive out of the IE for a great restaurant experience. The Toasted Barrel, an upscale casual steakhouse located in Corona, has been winning award after award for their great diverse menu, service, ambience, wine, and cocktails. Customers call the Barrel the perfect date night. Inland Empire Magazine has awarded them Best Restaurant 4 years in a row. Wine Spectator recognized the Toasted Barrel's wine program for their award of excellence. Toasted Barrel is famous for their certified Angus beef, prime, Wagyu, and Kobe steaks, and they have some of the best pasta and seafood around. With happy hour and daily specials every day of the week, their appetizers and drink selections are the best around. Live music starts every Friday and Saturday at 5:30. Planning a dinner party, wedding rehearsal, family gathering, or holiday party? Look up Toasted Barrel online and make your reservation today.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited, Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited, Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590. The Answer.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sellers and buyers recognize that these low interest rates will not last. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited, Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and we come to you every Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock right here on AM 590, The Answer. This show, if you want to follow the show or share the show with others, they are all, I can't say that, archived at millionkids.org, millionkids.org. Go into the training and you'll see that these shows are archived so that once this show is over, if you want to share it with others, you can do that. Well, our guest today is Chief Billy Green. He is the Chief of Police for Fontana, California Police Department. However, they oversee a unit called ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children, ICAC. And these are task forces. There's 5 or 6, I think, across California. And these are task forces that investigate child sex crimes of all kinds. And they get their leads from an organization called NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That is the old John Walsh, America's Most Wanted group. And I happen to know NCMEC because they were part of our movie that we are putting together, or about to release, we hope. Anyway, and they told us that in 2021, because of the lockdown, because of the online learning, in 2019, they took 16.3 million leads for child sex crimes. In 2021, they took 29.6 million leads. That's 80,000 a day. And a lot of those leads are sent out through federal organizations, but a lot of them are sent down to local agencies such as the Fontana Police Department, and they handle a lot more than Fontana. They cover much of throughout Southern California, the Inland Empire. So with that, we have Chief Green on here. What I want to do here is have him share with you a little bit more about why this is so important and what it means if they lose some of this funding.
Well, the biggest impact that it will have on the Fontana Police Department with this funding source not being continued will be the high-tech equipment that it takes to investigate many of these types of crimes. As you're well aware, Opal, that these predators that prey on children, they operate in the darkness. And many times this is an unseen crime throughout communities. And the city of Fontana, although we tenaciously investigate these types of crimes, they're happening in every community across our state and across our country. And the way that they avoid detection is that they consistently alter the ways in which it is they trade in this illicit material. Going along with that, it requires a tremendous amount of resources, technological resources, to investigate, identify, and apprehend these folks responsible for it. And to be frank with you, we would not be as effective as we are without the support of the Los Angeles Regional ICAC, who we are part of. Currently in the Fontana Police Department, we have over $100,000 worth of high-tech equipment that was provided to us free of charge by this funding source provided to by the state of California to our regional ICAC in Los Angeles. In addition to the equipment, it's specialized equipment where we are able to deconstruct hard drives and find secretly mirrored hard drives on computer systems. Again, because the people that engage in this type of child pornography activity are constantly trying to avoid detection. And some of them are very technologically savvy in hiding this material. And it really requires a significant amount of expertise to get the evidence that we need to prosecute them. And without the support of our regional ICAC partner in the LA office, it wouldn't be possible. In addition to the high-tech equipment, we receive a tremendous amount of training. Our detectives are highly specialized, and they would be nowhere near as effective as they are if not for that advanced training. We do receive reimbursements from our ICAC regional in LA for these trainings. But what's most important, it's tough to put a dollar value on, is that because they have the funding available, they're able to bring in national experts to a locale here in Southern California and host the trainings where our people are able to go and learn the latest technology and the latest strategies in identifying and apprehending these predators. So it's concerning. It's going to have an impact across our state if this funding revenue is not continued. But in the city of Fontana, our detectives will continue to work because they're paid for out of our general fund. Our taxpayers pay us to continue to do that. But the funding, where we're really going to feel it, is the drying up of these training opportunities to continue to keep our detectives on the cutting edge of these types of very specialized investigations.
You know, I can't emphasize that enough. I talk about that myself a lot of times when I do a presentation, because what you see, even in child pornography now, you're starting to see some of this actually being part of money laundering and getting to be high dollar amount of kind of things. And that means that the bad guy gets bigger. They have more sophisticated technology. They do bulletproof hosting. They go in and out of the dark net. They have all this encryption, and they have all the money to be able to stay way ahead of everybody. And I've often said, if there's ever a time in our society we shouldn't be, for instance, defunding police, we ought to be investing in massive amounts of technology just so we can stay current with them. The gap just gets bigger without the investment.
The urgency of continuing these types of investigations cannot be overstated. We know statistically more than 80% of the individuals that traffic in this type of material either have gone hands-on with the child or will go hands-on with the child. So our desire and our drive and our motivation is to identify and apprehend these people before they do damage a child for the rest of that child's life. And it just can't be understated that this is a nationwide problem. And it's not, it doesn't get the publicity that the smash and grab burglaries get, or the shootings at the park. And those things are important and they need to be investigated as well. But this is that deep, dark secret that without that specialized equipment, then the specialized training will remain to go undetected. And inevitably, there will be more child victims if we're not continue to be aggressive with these types of investigations.
Well, and because of technology and the internet, that pedophile can have multiple victims. I was looking up at the Bakersfield area of Fresno, where they have a gentleman by the name of Dimitri Davis that they just had that they picked up. And they believe, and this is alleged because it's going to go through court, but they believe there's well over 100 victims. And this technology allows these guys to come right into our kids' bedroom, and they just look like some young, good-looking guy, and the kid falls in love and they start interacting, and they have no understanding that once that photo hits that internet, it's going to go out to literally could be thousands of pedophiles. And on top of it, that guy is talking to hundreds of kids. And so that's why I think technology is so important, is because their reach, because of technology, they literally, you don't worry about the guy down the street as much as the fact that, something like 83% of kids sleep with their phone. And think about what that means in the middle of the night. And you're the people that go out and find these people that are hidden in the dark web.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not anecdotal or theoretical. We've identified and taken people into custody that have victimized multiple children. Yep. It's not a one-off that these types of cases happen. They're happening. Unfortunately, the fortunate reality is that they're happening on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, I know you're going to have to run to your next meeting. I appreciate you taking the time to come in and join us. We have about a minute and a half. Anything you want to leave with our audience, and then I'll pick it up from there.
I just want to thank the community, specifically the community of Fontana. When we brought this to the attention of our public, they came out in support of us. They realized the importance of this issue and the need to continue to fund these specialized investigations. If we're not in this job to protect the vulnerable and protect people that can't protect themselves, then quite frankly, I don't know what we're in it for. And our ICAC unit and the men and women that do these types of investigations, they are truly special people with a servant's heart that want nothing more than to make a positive difference in the lives of children.
Yeah, I can't imagine anything else in the budget that's more important than keeping a kid safe from pedophiles and predators. And you're not needing that much on the size of the entire budget. So we need to get those people's attention and make sure this gets refunded.
And the May revise, the governor is considering changes to the budget for 22-23 this May. The time is now, and we need the help of your listeners to encourage the governor to fund our ICAC regionals.
Well, we'll talk about the next section on how the people can get involved. But Chief Green, thank you for taking the time to join us today. I so admire the work you do. Keep it up, and we'll do everything we can to support you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift, Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton and I am your host of your show. We have been so fortunate to have Chief Green on from Fontana. He is one of the finest chiefs of police I think you could ever get, not only throughout California, but throughout the nation. They are very, very successful over there in what they do. So I want to just kind of take the next segment here and share with you what crimes against children looks like, because I think that, it's very easy for me because I do this every day and I've done it for years and years and years. But you all may not really appreciate the kinds of things that they deal with. And I thought after he spoke, what I'd like to do is maybe just kind of give you an overview. The most common kind of crime that they deal with is online exploitation. And that takes place in many, many ways. Sometimes it's a situation where you have a young man that's playing a video game in a chat room with somebody. And, there's a lot of animated pornography in the video games, and they get to interacting with somebody and it gets hot and heavy. And that kid forgets that live streaming works both ways. And he gets filmed, it gets sent out, and people then get copies of that. And they start to blackmail him. Now, sometimes it's only one pedophile that's doing that. But if it's a pedophile that's part of a large-scale dark web ring, then what will happen is that photo will go out to maybe 10,000 other pedophiles or 100,000. And they have now discovered a couple of rings that had one recently that we talked about, had 400,000 members. One of them, called Welcome to Video, had 1 million members. These are people who, join the dark websites, they exchange information, and they exchange photos. And many of those people, once they get the photo, will start to begin to make that poor young man's life living heck, okay? And the same kind of thing, you'll get, maybe a 7, 8-year-old girl who's online and she's playing a game and some guy sends her some videos and they wants to play games with them. And she doesn't know what that's all about because even though she's online, nobody's had the adult sex talk with her. And so, she wants to impress this guy with how good she is with the iPad or the smartphone. And next thing you know, that photo's gone off and it's gone around. Or maybe it's a young girl, that meets somebody online in a dating site or a hookup site, and they send that photo and the blackmail begins. And as I said, NCMEC last year said that they took 29.6 million calls. Now, I'm going to tell you that this really, really took off as we put kids into online learning. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying it is a side result because we had a lot of young people who were not in school, who were online and couldn't be watched 24/7. Parents had to work and like that, and they became victims. And their lives changed forever because you get into all kinds of situations. It can be one guy who's just violating one person, or it can be a guy that's violating, for instance, 100 or 500 kids that they get them to send a naked photo and begin to threaten them. And once a child becomes a victim of this, their lives change forever. All of a sudden they're panicked. They don't want mom and dad to see the devices. They may start cutting. They may have been a straight A student. Some very smart kids get caught up in this. And the next thing you know, they don't want to go to school because they don't know who at school knows about it. And maybe some of the kids have already seen the photos. One of the first things they'll do, especially like a TikTok video, they'll see all the other people on there that liked that video and send it off to them. So the stories of these are ongoing and varied as you can get. If you really want to understand more about that, please go to millionkids.org and sign up for insider alerts. We do one or two a week. We just did one on Demetri Davis out of Fresno. And he has victims all over the U.S. It isn't like you're so worried about the guy down the street anymore, because as some of you know, I wrote a book called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. And, literally kids will, predators come right into their bedroom and get acquainted with them. And they start to hook up and they make bad decisions. And their lives change forever. Now, something like 57% of kids will not tell a parent, and they will go out and try to meet up with that person to negotiate back that photo. It's a natural response. You can't blame the kid. Once they're in the trap, they're going to try to do whatever they can to get out of that trap, except they get further violated. And so it is absolutely critical to have a task force such as the ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, because they will stand in for your child and try to track down that pedophile. Now, these ICAC task forces, they get cases from all kinds of ways. For instance, he was saying they get leads that somebody's called in and said, my child is being blackmailed. What do I do? Or sometimes it is because somebody like Instagram or Facebook, and I don't want to give them too much credit, but they do have algorithms that search for online child pornography, and they will send that out and ask them to investigate it. So those are some of the ways that this happens. The other ways is that you'll have the task force pretending to be a 13-year-old girl and set up dates with people. We just had a sting like that out of Riverside County Sheriff Department, and the Riverside County District Attorney, Sheriff Chad Bianco, is very, very aggressive about this. And the same way with the DA Mike Hestron. Both of them, in this case, they funded, and it takes a commitment. And I'm very, very proud of both of those individuals for being willing to go out on the line and do what it takes to protect your children. And they were running these kind of stings where they set up dates with 25 guys in a week that thought they were going to show up and have sex with a 14-year-old. 3 of them that showed up for thinking that they're meeting a 14-year-old were carrying loaded weapons. And I bring that up to your attention because I want you to understand. Imagine if that's your 14-year-old girl who thinks they're talking to a 16-year-old hunk, and they show up at the mall and it's really a 32-year-old pedophile carrying a gun. So these units are very, very important. Now, as Chief Green said, they're not going to lose the personnel, but they are going to lose a lot of what it takes to investigate these crimes. It's kind of like going to a gunfight without a gun, if you will, because without that technology, without all of that capability, without having that search dog, Goose the dog, why do they have a dog? Well, these guys hide their evidence. Many of these pedophiles will have a database of 100,000 photos of kids that they bought, sold, and traded with other pedophiles from the dark web. And when that happens, what'll happen is that they'll come in and they hide those thumb drives, those hard disks, those kinds of things. And when that happens, then, the dog can come in and find them. They hide them in the walls. They hide them in the floor. They hide them in the dirt. They hide them in the attic. I've seen guys that have actually taken their computers and tried to drown them in a bathtub. And, so that they think that they can get rid of the evidence. But these task forces are very, very good at this. The number of cases where our kids are being exploited has absolutely exploded over the past couple of years. And we are so fortunate to have the Fontana ICAC unit. And it would just break my heart to see this defunded. So what we're going to ask you to do in the next segment is I'm going to show you how that you can write a letter. You know, if you want to donate, fine, and that's good. I'm not doing this to raise money. I'm doing it to ask you as a citizen. You asked me, what can I do to help keep our kids safe from predators? I'm going to give you something concrete you can do. You can send emails, 3 of them, 1 to the governor, 1 to the assembly, and 1 to the Senate. And when you do, this is important that you ask that they not be defunded, that they be included in the budget. And that's really the key. That's really what we're going after here. We want your involvement to be able to raise your voice and say, this must not happen on our community. We have to protect our kids. So this is Opal Singleton. We are up against that hard break. So I'm going to ask you to stay with me. In the next segment, I'm going to give you specific information on what you can do. Be right back.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at RE/MAX Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens, and she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at RE/MAX Realty, 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about what's going on in the Inland Empire related to child sex crimes. As if you're just tuning in and you've missed the first of the show, we have units here within the Inland Empire. One of them is headquartered out of Fontana. The Fontana Police Department is really, really unique in that they have special expertise in that department related to investigating child sex crimes. You see, what happens here is these pedophiles, where they used to just violate a child and stay alone, now get involved in large-scale child pornography rings. They will go into the dark web. They get a dark web IP address or address so that they can enter into the child sex pornography rooms. And they also will do something called bulletproof hosting. So I sometimes give an example of, if you think of the internet as a bucket of water, we have only about 4% of the internet is where we live, where we have search engines and like that. And that is called the clear web or the surface web. But what happens is that pedophiles like to operate in the dark web or the dark net. And you need very specific addresses. And you also need a spatial browser for that, a router called the Tor, T-O-R, the onion router. Think about peeling back the layers of an onion. So it's called the onion router, T-O-R, Tor. If you see someone with a .onion account, you're pretty sure they're operating in the dark web. If you see a young person under the age of 18 in there, I would certainly report that. But what is happening is these guys go out on the clear web and they meet our kids and they trick our kids into sending various photos. And those photos go out to child pornographers and they will buy, sell, and trade them. And so this is why I say with kids, if you send a photo to the wrong person and they're a member of one of these dark websites, your naked photo that you think you sent to a boyfriend actually goes out around the world through the dark net. And it can be seen by, 10,000 pedophiles, 100,000 pedophiles. So it is this technology that makes this crime so difficult. Kids do not realize what they're walking into. Now, this has become an absolute pandemic, which is why we have developed our movie called Sextortion, The Hidden Pandemic. We are currently right now doing the work to get it ready to get into schools across America. So I can't release it yet. It just drives me nuts. But we have it. It's in the can. It's being prepared for schools so kids understand where naked photos go when you hit send. But we must not lose these ICAC units. They require sophisticated technology that can go into the dark web or into what they call bulletproof hosting. Bulletproof hosting is when someone moves offshore, they'll get an IP address that is anonymous or hidden. They will work with a server out of Iceland or Russia or China or like that. And it's transmitting right here in your community and you don't realize where it's coming from. That's where also a lot of your hacking and that kind of thing takes place. But once your child is a victim of a child sex crime, if we don't have sophisticated ICAC units to do this investigation, then, it's going to be a free-for-all. And it is absolutely critical that we contact our administrators and let them know, our politicians, and let them know, please make sure the ICAC units are in defunding for 2022 and 2023. You're not talking about that much money considering the size of our state budget, maybe $5 million. So on the Million Kids website and on our Facebook site, Million Kids Facebook, we are going to post how you I want you to contact Governor Gavin Newsom. I'm going to just give you his phone number, 916-445-2841. Now, this will also be on our site. Now, I guarantee you he's not going to answer, but you can leave a message and give your opinion. His email is leg, L-E-G, period, like legislation, leg.unit@gov.ca.gov. That's leg, like legislation, at leg.unit@gov.ca.gov. I'm also on our website going to give you for the Assembly for their budget and also the Senate for the budget, for the Senate Budget Committee. All of that will be on our website so that you can write it out and write to them. I've already tried it out and I've already sent them my opinion. So I'm going to ask you to get involved and make sure that you get the attention and that you get your voice heard. I've done these kinds of things in the past because, we're fighting child sex crimes all the time. But to defund the investigative unit is just like over the top for me. The part of it is, I've done this for so long and I'm watching as our state is letting these pedophiles out early without spending their entire sentence. They're getting out early. I've watched as our state has refused to make child sex crimes a serious or violent crime. That is the fight that I fought last month. But when I came home from my vacation and saw that what is happening is that they are not preparing to fund the ICAC units going into 23. This is just, it will put us back in the dark ages of combating child sex crimes. And the only way to fight this is for you to have your voice heard. And so that's what I'm going to ask you to do. I don't normally do this. Million Kids is not a political company. I'm not asking you to vote one way or the other, although I am saying you should look who you're voting for, that if they're not willing to fund law enforcement that's going to protect our children, I would give that some consideration. But we need to get their attention. And I'm going to ask you to use your time and resources to send off these emails, make the phone calls, and make your voice heard, and then share it with everyone you know. And so Governor Newsom, you can reach him, leg.unit@gov.ca.gov. And the Assembly and the Senate, you can go on and Google them, or you can go to millionkids.org, and I'll show you how to write to them. This is important. Chief Green is one of my heroes. He probably doesn't know that I say that regularly, but we are very fortunate in the Inland Empire. I don't know the folks over in San Bernardino as well as I know the Riverside folks, because I report to the Riverside folks. But I've worked with many different sheriffs and many different DAs in my lifetime. And I've served under 3 different presidential administrations. But I'm going to tell you, the people in Riverside County are committed to combating child sex crimes, and so are the people in San Bernardino. But they need our support. They need our votes. They need us to be able to contact the governor and say, fund this ICAC unit, get it in your budget. Help us keep our kids safe from predators. This is so, so important. If you want more information, you can write or go on to Million Kids, MILLION, millionkids.org. You can write to me at OPAL, OPAL, at millionkids.org, and I'll send it to you directly if you need me to do that, whatever it takes. But I'm asking you, you want to know what you can do? You can stop and write some emails, and it will make a difference. It would be a travesty to lose these folks and this group doing this kind of investigation. So my name is Opal Singleton. This show is called Exploited: Crimes in Technology. We come to you every Saturday at 3:00, but we also have this show archived at millionkids.org if you want to share it with anybody. And again, you can always email me at opal@millionkids.org. I really want to take a minute here as we close to say how important you are to me personally, and how important you are to the people at Million Kids. This is tough, tough work. And I'm going to tell you, in the state of California, it's getting tougher. When you're letting people out early, when you're refusing to call child sex crimes violent or serious, and now when you're not putting the budgets in for children's crimes, these are hard days. So we need you. Please follow us at millionkids.org. If you have it in your heart to donate to us, we'd appreciate it a whole lot. You can get that at millionkids.org/donate, and we would appreciate it. Our address is right there. We'll see you next Saturday at 3:00 right here on AM 590, The Answer.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses. and their parents are technophobic. Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.